All right, shalom. You're the young pants, so I'm at the patch here. That's a twin come. Your baby soon idea. All right, you're baby can show say over chichi. You're by my snatch your chair there. Ube you chair. All right, and see, and then the topic Benny about share topic they say refugees slash converts become owners of stolen land. Right, because ocean a day there qua um even Ghana for any many brothers, for example, Abraham Moshe ọmụ believe ọmụ yɛ strong believer sɛ Jewish people no more as I say so Israel and day no ọmụ na the real Jews no even cry no even pastors be bro Ghana sana de be brave a believe right but in the Bible heard the Bible neka nti yɛnkɔ Jeremiah chapter 14 verse 2 near heard the Bible neka yɛnhwɛ Jews ni su right na afei yɛwie a yɛhwɛ how a Yesu Kristo travel free mu. All right. In Jeremiah chapter 14, verse 2. Jeremiah chapter 14, verse 2. It say, Judah mourneth, and the gate thereof languish. They are black unto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. Tiba mieta as I said, real Jews na nkasno omu tuntum et say a form edotie. Because okay, in Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. Now upon mieta as I said, or the form dotine in a bonipa. And obviously, a form the tenure, ututu amra, and I said the more ututu ko from that color near the darker, a minutes watching across that, me matching across that, and to me, nim how I form the tea at here. Surface no, the brown, but more now to amra ko from no, not darker near the air. And the Bamiata say Jews no, and I said Judah, Jew, the word Jews ni if we Judah mu. And the Bamiata say Jews no, and I said Judah no, or me any patuntum, right, or me tuntum. And Tianko, Hebrews chapter 7, verse 14. Niyehwe abusua kro Jesus said Ephraim. Into you call Hebrews chapter 7, verse 14. Near heard the Bible neka. All right, into Hebrews chapter 7, verse 14. I say, it is evident that our Lord sprang out of Judah, of which tribe Moses spake not concerning priesthood. The Bible say Jesus Christ, we are not the US in I don't know. Bamieta says, Jesus Christ to every Judah as if for. You can kind Jeremiah chapter 14, verse 2. No. Bab Mamiata says, Jews know the Omu Unipatuntum. Okay, can Revelation chapter 1, verse 14. Bible met Emautia says, Jesus Christ to 8 to 2. Okay, can Daniel chapter 10, 10, verse 5. Yeah, 10, yeah, Daniel chapter 7, verse 9. Bible Mieta says, Young Pons to the 8 to 2. Okay, can Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 18. Bible me as I say above for nipa tuntum, right? And the Bible me as I say Jews no nipa tuntum. In your African Americans, Hispanics, Native Americans, Ghana for Bible me as I say Israelites no nipa tuntum, different shade of brown, all right? And you have some Solomon kind. And you Songs of Solomon chapter 1 verse 5. Song of Solomon chapter 1 verse 5. I say I am black but calmly. Solomon say, "Oh, you nipa tuntum ba ne ho off it." Yen ebi fon kwa ne betime agina waka say me tuntum na me ho off. Me hu ba bia na se me kan ba bia matter say and answer me kan say akwachibro ni say me nipa kokko na me ho off. Me hu sade ni bi da ba bia. Unless we betime approve at media. But yen nipa tuntum ne betime agina waka say me tuntum na me ho off. O hwe and your man, James Brown, actually, I'll say, I am black and beautiful, right? I'm son of Kaya. I am the son of Kaya, I'm black and beautiful, right? Yenny picture to me, me, edge now, I can say, you to mommy home fit, right? King Solomon, or the greatest king, wisest king on this earth, right? I say, or you tuntum, or none home effort, it was so. I say, Song of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 5, or say, I am black, but calmly, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon. So on the Bamiata says Solomon say that no on say they on see nipa tuntum. Okay, can Bible nimba bia yatro say akosi broni and as Jesus Christ and prophets no emu bi yet ebu yakosi broni. Any Bible nimba bia Jeremiah, Isaiah, King David, Samuel, King Saul, Paul, Matthew, all the prophets are or more Bible, different shades of brown, right? In Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 1. Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 1. Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 1. I say, the sin of Judah is written up with a pen of iron and with the point of a diamond. It is grieving upon the table of their heart and upon the horns of their altars. Because we can kind of book of Jeremiah. Breaking laws, no. Right now, use Jeremiah, so be making sure say, make me or more free bonnet, they was say one before so best in the Babylonians number, neither or mother conquer no. Verse 2. While their children remember their altars and their groves by the graven tree upon the hills. Verse 3. All my mountains in the field, I will give the substance and all the treasures to the spoil, and the high places for sin throughout all the borders. Verse 4. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thy heritage. And Jeremiah said, even though Israelites know bonny, but crowd Jeremiah and also the ubelusu with heritage. Heritage ben in the ma Jeremiah and I say yananam Israelites no. Yanko Sirach. We call book with me friend apocrypha, me call Ecclesiasticus, and I say Sirach chapter 17, verse 11. All right, into Sirach chapter 17, verse 11. And you hear heritage now. Now upon catcher Jeremiah said, obey discontinue from that heritage. No. Called Sirach chapter 17. I say Ecclesiastes chapter 17, verse 11. I say, beside this, he gave them knowledge and the law of life for an heritage. Right? And to as I say, heritage now for the man Israelites no. The law. Right? And to another heritage now upon the man no. Yanko Psalms chapter 135. Psalm chapter 135, verse 9. Never heard the Bible, Nika. Psalm chapter 135, verse 9. Psalm chapter 135, verse 9. I say, who sent tokens and wonders in the midst of thee, O Egypt, upon Pharaoh and upon all his servants? Verse 10. Who smote great nations and slew mighty kings. Verse 11. Sihon, king of Amorites, and Og, king of Bashan, and all the kingdom of Canaan. Verse 12. And gave thee their land of. The second verse 12 say, and gave their land for an heritage unto Israel, his people. Right? See. Heritage back one upon the Mayan and anonymity. Number one, Mrasem, and our face, or heritage being on the Maya or the assassin Israel and the Mayan Israelites. No. Or for assassin Israel, now I'm in area Sumina. Right? You go back to Jeremiah. Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4. Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4. I say, and the law and thou, even thyself, shall discontinue from thy heritage. Into heritage now, Jeremiah be discontinue from that heritage near the Mrasem. And Mrasem also counts with culture. And Mrasem also counts with language. And Mrasem also counts with way of life. And I feel so heritage back we be now upon side the Maya the assassin Israel. You can kind Psalm chapter 135 verse 9 to 12. No, so the assassin Israel and the Mayan Israelites. No, and after so the Mrasem the Emai. Jeremiah, my second be Jeremiah 17 verse 4. I say, and thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thy heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thy enemies in the land which thou knoweth not. For ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever. So until you point at Jeremiah said, or the Jeremiah no crank as no, no your cry prophet now one very clean no. Or no cross obey the ever discontinue from Yakupon heritage, meaning Emrasem no and afi or massa assassin Israel no. So until we as some man yapon enam Jeremiah so catch Jeremiah and after so catch na no. Okay, can do chapter 28. Samson and Moses also share one come say and then yapon ransom so you call in slavery, right? You call slavery, you see assassin Israel and after so you lose your heritage. And then they will say Ghana and say, oh, you did any Ghana. Okay, before I prefer Ghana, no, near fair Ghana saying, oh, yeah, fair Ghana Gold Coast. Okay, before I prefer Ghana Gold Coast, near fair Ghana saying, Onimsa history. No. Why? Because Akosi Broni, I'm a discontinued from my heritage. Mo buy conquer and omu ye heritage influence him, omu ye massam influence him, omu ye any pa ye su aye influence him. Because yen and say me afraid if you Judah as for me and fair who Ghana for, me and fair who Gold Coast for. Right? Yanko Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. Now, Jeremiah, any anonymous say, you be lose, you be discontinued from our heritage. I am any assassin Israel right now. Right? Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. It saying, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. Yen say, I bread and I no more Egypt, no, not a day and no more, no more enquire with Egypt. Yanko Exodus, you hear about say, Yanko Exodus. Chapter 20, verse 2. Near Egypt as a tray. Because we say, oh, Massa, Muslim Egypt, the mother ship never call. Boy, some now cannot boy Egypt, means interest. And here, call Exodus chapter 20, verse 2. We shall say verse 1. I say, and God spake all these words, saying, verse 2, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Bondage as a shred, and it said bondage as a shredding enqua. And I said enqua, so I said captivity, right? And to go back to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. I say, and the Lord shall bring thee, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ship. Or say, no, I okay kind of verse 59. Now, possibly any master so the no mean better so. No me back when you upon the two so say beko enkwasum na ebeko near the ship and ebeko. Obeka say oh master yen Ghana for any Israelite for boy intro na ucha. Proof e Ghana a church ampa yen nanom konkwasum mo the ship and a koi. Oko Emilna Castle, proof for her. Oko Cape Coast Castle, proof for her. Proof e Ghana a tresse and commission ya upon share with Deuteronomy chapter 20 verse 6 and then they obey history. And then a modern Ghanaians, omunim sa history no. Ghana yen trace sa history na ba Emina Castle, they will see Emina Castle, they will see what keeps yen trace sa history, yen share British for history na can saying Elizabeth the Queen there and then now ye say no Bob or Ghana be my and some kind of history or Ghana, but history na and can see a train Ghana for you who you suit you who baby if you know yen trace sa no Ghana. I did a show Ghana say you be a partner man for zone 2. Nekola nani ache no my our day no obi up munim bibia nam Ghana says the from home Ghana from your Ghana for me Ghana for right and the entia idea now so emi lusu your heritage e boni na ye de home but nya upon e yusu enko e call slavery and you lose your heritage no you lose your asase you lose any pa you lose your massive you lose your culture. Because akwasi boni ba Ghana na yenye naked ne nam ho na yenim de ne titin dias ne ye munga no ne di emrasem so before akwasi boni beba by nam say sha say ye mosom semti no ene de nyampon soma akwasi boni de eman be say call enkwasum right yanko Luke chapter 21 verse 20 near heard the Bible ne kan Luke chapter 21 verse 20 Luke chapter 21, verse 20. Luke chapter 21, verse 20. I say, and when ye shall see, into where asama Yesu had the ekatre in an at that time, right? Onante was asking. So when they ask somebody the okatre, or say, and when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is near. Et nyapo Yesu Kristo ka che na nanom say most Roman army for nearby who make sure say omo ba destroy Jerusalem. History e wo a traces I encompass Yesu Kristo kan e ba mu ma yan hwa ade me ba ma me ma yan ko documentary and I say yan kan history a trace ampa ensem na Yesu Kristo kan no e ba mu. So more fancy me IT and I'm a say reader and I'm say teacher and tea. Mo fan chemi. SME. Okay. Okay. Share screen. Okay. Give me some more mommy 1 second. Let me share my screen. Me share idea be with more real quick. Nearest asem na yes Christo kind say a bear man I say amen. All right. See, my man share my screen. Na mo hu yen hwe asem a yes kind say amen. All right. To share screen. Okay. Okay. I hope say mo hu a document I'm there to it. Where siege of Jerusalem, where 70 AD, right? It is as my Jesus Christ kind of Luke chapter 21. It happened in the time of 70 AD, right? And to me say kind of be Luke chapter 21, verse 20. I say, when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is near. And Jesus Christ catch and I'm saying, so most Romans armies nearby, we making sure say that more destruction, more about destroy Jerusalem. And you have a kind of history, and come share Jesus Christ so a kind of a bear in 70 AD. All right. Into me kind. I say, okay. I hope say muhume. Siege of Jerusalem, 70 CE. All right, I say the siege of Jerusalem of 70 CE was a decisive event of the first Jewish-Roman war, right? In which the Roman army led by future Emperor Titus besieged Jerusalem, the center of Jewish rebel resistance in Roman province in Judea. Okay. Kind of second paragraph. I say, in April 70 CE, 3 days before Passover, the Roman army started besieging Jerusalem. The city has been taken over by rebel factions following a period of massive unrest. Back in kind of history now, out here says, and I'm unconscious yes shared because after the book of kind Greeks, Romans for the conquer. But before the Roman for conquer, there's so much confusion going on with the Romans, right? What kind the Nero, idea Nero, yeah, so or Shasi Kunkuyan and Anum Rome. Rome on fire and no blue Israelites no. So in process at the end of the day, Romans go and said, I'm going to destroy Jerusalem. And in contrast, yes, so can Luke chapter 20, 21, verse 20, and the fulfill it. And by me, history may as I said, 70 AD, and a Roman said, I conquer Jerusalem. We'll be see Jerusalem, and I conquer Jerusalem. Unya can say history. Why? All right, so my go back to Bible. I say, Luke chapter 21, verse 20. I say, and when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies ben ana Jesus Christo eka Romans armies. I'm going to conquer Jerusalem, and I'm going to besiege Jerusalem, and I'm going to destroy Jerusalem at the time of 70 AD. Right? Verse 21. Then let them flee, let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains. And yes, Christo catching and say, most Romans army nimba, mu make mu say omo ba destroy Jerusalem. And after so more Jerusalem, mu make sure say mu be flee akwa or say mu flee in mountains. Mountains be na yen na be bre edwane call, omo dwane call further down in west coast of Africa. E be dwane call Egypt. Metwaso. Or say verse 21. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out. And let not them that are in the countries enter therein. And yes, you catch and say. So if we need Jerusalem now or another country, make sure say on my back to Jerusalem. Once the Romans found out back, I can besiege Jerusalem. Men back to Jerusalem. Why? Because Omobabe destroyed Jerusalem. Verse 22. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. And just because catch then I say, and normal Moses account Deuteronomy chapter 20, you know. I said the fulfilling. And some upon a cafe home Deuteronomy chapter 20 and as a fulfilling, as you lose your heritage. Okay, I think it's 1 Thessalonians and chapter 2, 4 down, and 2, 4 down. I can't about how I see a falling away first, meaning I see a conquest. Now prophecies now upon a cafe, normal I say it happened to us now before Jesus Christ to Beban. Nina a fulfilling. Right, and yes, so Ekachen and Anonymous says, Romans neighbor, making sure that we free Israel, Israel assassin. So now, go further into the mountains, move further into west coast of Africa, right? Yen be trying to Egypt, then be call Assyria, yen be omomutie asema yes Christ can or move flee call other places. Metwaso. Verse 23. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. For there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon his people. And see, yes, because catching and say, woe unto more munyam, or more efforts or more video mama. I didn't see because Sahishunam Jatuano, siege of Jerusalem. Who go through Sahishunam, I didn't a happy among Romans ne kan ka Jerusalem no e kom e ba asase so enti enam se kom ba asase no ntini omo wo emma foforo omo nom omo ma e de omo ku omo ma na e de ere even e was history so we are there then anom de ye sa and commissioner Jesus Christ kan afofele right me twaso verse 24 I say, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword. Or say, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword. More mountain number, more some ye katashimu, ye bozi, you know. More bedis as a better Jerusalem, any Romans nakono, mono yebekumo. You shall fall by the edge of the sword. Right? Metwaso, and shall be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until of the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled, right? See, just to catch an and say, more move decides to move stay in Jerusalem. No Romans funny about no more journey. Now some stay in Jerusalem. I didn't bear happen. I did bear happen. It's Romans funny. Ebe kumo. Now for some more or more kumo no so by somewhere they at the amako and kwasumo. And after I'll say, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Until I say, so move free assassin so assassin better hope it, but Gentiles and the Bible assassin so. And the okay. Yahoo said, and some used to come from verse 21, ABC verse 23. And verse 24, no proof no one here, and I say history no one here, a church and pack. Ye sanity didn't happen, and you're going free the land of Israel, no echo Africa, no. Assassin the hope na Gentiles and my mom for be a better assassin so. Yen history no. Okay, before me go history no. Yen anan bebre and also social media bebre, oko social media. Many of accounts are yen anan account almost can history about Ghana. Almost say okay, didn't you bedru Ghana and say oh na Jerusalem and could talk and the question with Jerusalem. Any you Ghana free yen na Malia and yen you be ka Nigeria, yen you be ka Senegal, yen you be ka Mali. Yen you be the ekeka ekwem enti yen aka na de yebedru Ghana e wo ho uko YouTube video history no ho yen nanom omo kasa abakosem no omo ka abakosem na e trese ampa ye free ye dwane free Jerusalem na de eni bedru Ghana right enti see Jesus Christ am yata say mu free assassin so assassin no eso beda opete ama mu for na ba betna so enti yen hwesa history no all right to me my share me screen bio na me yen share idea proof for a church ampa ye dwane free Africa ye dwane free Jerusalem no amamamufo ene ba asase ne so ebetena asase so no until say Jesus Christ be ba eyi o free asase ne so. So mon fanche me IT nam say all right, mami share sa document. Nti who na yes Gentiles na omo asase ne so. All right. Nti yen hwe omo ye Gentiles na omo asase ne so. Okay, my share screen. Okay. Okay, my main share my screen view. Okay. All right. Me be kind of document way proof share Gentiles na omo asase ne so ene day. Right. Ti Unya ho a wabetumi akọ website no na the working kind. Me go through ni nyina, but me go through nkakaka. Me go through some few na ma skip. Ti unya ho a wabetumi akọ sa website na why the wanya ho watena se akan. Ti enfa na me start. Okay, me start free. Say US recognition of the state of Israel. Me pachi me bo enti ada na Israel assassin ebe ye state. Before before akwasibo ni beko assassin na assassin a country that na assassin e da ho that. Me to us or say at midnight on May 14th, 1948, the provisional government of Israel proclaimed a new state of Israel. I mean me bo eba ne send Israel assassin ebe ye new state. Israel assassin ne da ho kaka ye na Jacob ene nyamponchi ni din efi Jacob eko Israel enti ye ko assassin Canaan ne so no and assassin e dey among ka say the children of Israel assassin e da enye assassin ye ye can say obi na to assassin e nyampon e dey say assassin ma ye o change ye din eko Israel na edin sa edin da assassin so but in 1948 May 14 1948 and omu proclaim a new state of Israel. Mamento aso. Or say, on that same date, the United States, in the person of President Truman, recognized the provisional Jewish government as the de facto authority of the Jewish state. And or say the de facto, yenge idea de facto no church. Also mean ya santa for yente brofonisa. And the way say de facto no as a tray. To me some more 1 minute. Now me share screen right now. Near say de facto no as a tray. De facto. Are there any de facto? So more fan chame. Okay, to me share definition of that de facto. Near who de facto no as a tray. Okay, de facto. All right, and tiyan near who as a tray. De facto, I say de facto describe practice that exists in realty, whether or not they are officially recognized by law or other formal norms. It is commonly used to refer to what happens in practice, in contrast with de jure, meaning by law, right? Which refers to things that which refers to things that happen according to official law, regardless of whether the practice exists in reality. Yanko has a de facto right here. De facto, okay. Okay, I say technical standards. I'll say a de facto standard is a standard that achieve a position by tradition, enforcement, or market dominance. It has not necessarily received formal approval by way of standardization process and may not have an official standard document, right? And see, you go back to idea Truman you go back to idea Truman All right, so you go back to this document. And me say kind of every I say or say or say on that same day, the United States, in the person of President Truman, recognized the provisional Jewish government as the de facto authority of the Jewish state. And see, establishing into law, but our can history now. President Truman was favor or favor Jewish people, no. Not Jewish people in Palestine, they go back and forth. Not British, no, and they ruling Palestine at that time, right? And see, Truman, decision about Truman, no, decides at the end of the day, no, when I'm here president of America, your power bit me to atomic bomb at destroy more countries, no. It's not me making that decision. The decision I me making, no, it's not based by law, but me and I me making that decision, no, right? Yan Twaso. Yanko background has saying. In 1917, Shem Weizmann, scientist, state person, and supporter of the effort to establish a state of Israel. We both someone must see me for na move free assassin. So I didn't think someone establish this assassin. So assassin your dear, I didn't also establish this assassin because the other bit make also free. For example, when they say free Ghana. Right now, free Ghana, I can say, America, Europe, Juma. Now, also back to assassin. Oh, freedom, I bet me go back to assassin. So, but and go for it, you Jews no move free assassins. But then also go through process and so no more go back to assassins, which means assassin in your modia. Me say can it be? Or say in 1917, house dark men America. Okay. I'll say, okay. Dark me when American. Okay. All right. I'll say in 1917, Shem Weizmann, scientist, state person, and supporter of the effort established a state of Israel, persuaded the British government to issue statement favoring the establishment of a Jewish national home in Palestine. Which shows that assassin and your modia. British government say on issue statement a bit favor almost say bit me establish home Palestine. And I say assassin Israel. So because I bet you free Israel Africans no went back to assassinate and the Arabs made a number of free assassinate. So right. So hold on, okay, so say the statement which became known as the Balfour Declaration was in part a payment to the Jews for their support of the British against the Turks during World War I. And the whole reason why British no supported Jewish people because almost support during the time of World War I. Or say after the war, the League of Nations rectified the declaration and in 1922 appointed British to rule over Palestine. So British rule over Palestine at that time in 1922, right? And to rule Palestine. Metwaso. Men kind about meskepo around. I say this course of event caused Jews to be optimistic about the eventual establishment of a homeland. And to which means so Jewish for no money baby baby for me to establish it. But yeah, she didn't see baby for no more establish it. You I'll say their optimism inspired the immigration of Palestine of Jews from many countries, particularly from Germany when Nazi persecution of the Jews began. And at that time, no more Poland, or more Germany, or more Omo European countries now Hitler HRC eku omo no. Omo afi omo decide omo flee a hono no e de omo pe be fufuro ko. Right. Metwaso. Or say the arrival of many Jewish immigrants in the 1930s awakened Arab fear that the Palestine would become a national homeland for the Jews. By 1936, guerrilla fighting had broken out between the Jews and Arab. Or say, and see, Jews now at the time of 1920, or much I say, assassin Palestine, I say, not Palestine's new assassin Israel's no. War, as I say, there, a break amongst them. You hear the Bible, you hear and come share Bible, and far. Assassin Israel, no, see, free assassin, so I didn't be see. Yanko Joel chapter 3, verse, I think it's verse 2. Joel chapter 3, verse 2. Joel chapter 3, verse 2. You hear the Bible, Joel chapter 3, verse 2. Mesha say verse 1. Or say Joel chapter 3, verse 1. Or say, behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, verse 2. I will also gather all the nations and bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there before my people and for my heritage Israel, who are that they? It says, whom they have scattered amongst the nation. Israel, you ask me why? Through Arab slave trade, through sub-Saharan slave trade, through Atlantic slave trade. Also there, the second will see whom they have scattered among the nation and parted my land. One more na assassin Israel no oma parted oma assassin menu. Arabs no any so-called Jewish people, and I said Palestinians no any Jewish people. And come share now upon them Jeremiah so emane trust a time you draw na se move free assassin so Palestinians no any so-called Jewish people no assassin no mechimu mienu. You go back to article no. Me say can be or say unable to maintain peace. British issue a white paper. White paper no definition of white paper. Maybe definition of white paper. Definition of white paper. All right, definition of white paper. All right, how's the screen on? Okay. Definition of white paper. White paper is a report. Okay, my yanko in government. It's white paper in government. I say the term white paper originated with the British government, and many point to the Churchley white paper of 1922 as the earliest well-known example under this name. In the British government, a white paper is usually a less extensive version of the so-called blue book, both terms being derived from the color of the document cover. If I'm gonna make it, just the definition of it. Okay, I'm saying okay. Okay, my main can say. I'll say a white paper is a report or guide that informs readers concisely about a complex issue and presents the issuing body's philosophy on the matter. It is meant to help the readers understand an issue, solve a problem, or make a decision. A white paper is the first document researchers should read to better understand a core concept or idea. So, into British new issue white paper. Into white paper, and just explain the issue will go on between the Palestinians and so-called Jewish people, right? It was happening so. And you go back to document. No? All right. Okay. And you go back to document. Now, if I can move. I'll say unable to maintain peace. British issue a white paper in 1939 that restrict Jewish immigration to Palestine. Right, the Jews feeling betrayed, better oppose the policy and look to the United States for support. And see, Abra brothers no issues out issue white people and say, oh, now you can say Jewish for the immigrant into Palestine. No. Almost disagree with that policy. Then almost call America out for support. Right? Yeah, to also. Third paragraph. I say, while President Franklin D. Roosevelt appeared to be sympathetic to the Jewish cause, his assurance to the Arabs that the United States would not intervene without consulting both parties caused public uncertainty about this position. Right? Roosevelt, somebody knows the master. I didn't know, so I say me to me, observe issue go on between two parties. No. I say, when Henry S. Truman took office, he made clear that his sympathies were with the Jews and accepted the Balfour Declaration, explaining that it was in keeping with the former President Woodrow Wilson principle of self-determination. Truman initiated several studies of the Palestine situation and supported his belief that as a result of Holocaust. And see, Truman basically the decision based on how Holocaust Jewish people to go through at the time of Hitler idea or shall I say Holocaust. Truman additional based on Holocaust at that time, right? Jews were oppressed and also in need of a homeland, and which means that as I see Israel and Jewish for the reason why America and the United Nations and the British no support here pushy and Jewish people no call as I see Israel because now feel Hitler oppress you Hitler kunkum there so Europe near the as I say Israel so. It from the beginning, some Jewish people know free assassin so assassin your omodia. Omonya born citizen of that assassin. Omonya indigenous of that assassin. No. Akosibroni Americans any United Nations and the British push you assassin because omo feeling say adia na ekoso with Hitler no near some pebe bi more emomoko. It's in Luke chapter 1, verse 21, verse 21 to 24. No. I say, as I free assassin, so Gentiles no and a assassin so. Now, Gentiles no ever was assassin so until so more time ever fulfill it. And that's the only reason that so called Jewish people more assassin so. And then you upon a domo call so, and then you go upon the summa before say on fat, you find the chariots and mess on class. No, you upon a yes, idea. Now, come show or Bible how we deliver young Israelites no. And yes, as Jewish people no more as I said, assassin so. And yeah, America and the British and the United Nations and over the omo push you on the omo assassin so. Why? Because omo feel say, oh, the Jews were oppressed and also in need of a homeland. Wait, I said now okay. Europe, not Europe, your modia. But unya okay, then I finish this paragraph. I'll say throughout the Roosevelt and Truman administration, the Department of War and State, recognizing the possibility of a Soviet Arab connection and the potential Arab restriction on oil supplies to this country, advised against United States intervention on behalf of the Jews. And I was at the end of the day, I'm no more oil until I say, yeah, careful, right? Yeah, twice I say, British and United States, in a joint effort to examine the dilemma, established the Anglo-American Committee of Inquiry. In April 1946, the committee submitted recommendations that Palestinian not to be dominated by Palestine not to be dominated by either Arabs or the Jews. It concluded that the attempt to establish nationhood or independence will result in civil strife, that a trusteeship agreement aimed at bringing Jews and Arabs together should be established by the United Nations, that the full Jewish immigration be allowed into Palestine, and that the two autonomous states be established with a strong central government to control Jerusalem, Bethlehem, and the Negev, the southernmost section of Palestine. British, Arab, and Jews' reaction to the recommendation were not favorable. Jewish attacks in Palestine and antagonized the British, and by February 1947, Arab-Jewish communication has collapsed. British anxious to right itself of the problem, set the United States in motion, formally requesting on April 2nd, 1947, that the United Nations General Assembly set up the Special Committee on Palestine. This committee recommended that the British mandate over Palestine be ended, and that the territory by the partition into two states. Joel chapter 3 verse 2. Also more party Israelites Jewish for Fabi and a Palestine for so Fabi. Also they partition into two states. Jewish reaction was mixed. Some wanted to control all the Palestine. Others realized that the partition spelled hope for their dream of a homeland. It's at the end of the day, no, Jewish people know or move journey free. Adana Hitler and America, British, and United Nations said it push you more class as assassinating any modia. Now upon our fast as number Jewish people. Assassinate any modia from the beginning. All right. Yan try this one so. Yan if I article by me by me someone fan share me. Yan share asama Palestinians a kind. Okay. Anti be here sa video we. Right. Unya ho abet me ko YouTube no ahwe sa video we. All right, into be video we. All right. Into Mr. Monti. How so mo bete kasa na Monte kasa na mama me ho na so mo abet me akọ na my the mahwe sa video we. Into yen hwe sa video na here asama Palestinians near the kind. All right. How so move?
صهیونیست ها از کجا آمدند؟
a subtitle into me personal mama kind. Or say, where do the Zionists come from? Into way Jewish into way idea video my say and for na Jewish for no free a buy.
از کجا آمدند؟ آلمان ها مدعی بودند.
Or say the Germans claim that they were the superior race because the German a bad power. No the superior race.
برتر هستند. ایتالیایی ها
sounds like Italians because of their Roman past, no, because Italian move free Rome as if for almost sounds like almost believe that almost superior because of Roman past.
به گذشته رومی خود می اندیشیدند و خود را
and they consider themselves the superior race.
نژاد برتر می نامیدند و یونانی ها
the Greek too were absorbed in their past. Sounds like Greeks also almost the same thing. Greeks for SDS so can kind of book of Maccabees.
هم به همین شکل در گذشته های خود قوتور بودند. سرب ها با همین نژاد پرستی
assassin of the Serbs almost because of their racism.
آتش جنگ جهانی اول را در مونتنگرو مشتعل کردند
Sounds almost that's a World War I or Montenegro.
و یهودی های
Or say the extremist Jews also claim that they were superior race chosen by God.
رو نیز مدعی شدند نژاد برتری هستند که خداوند آنها را برگزیده است. همه اقوام
Or
قبل
say each of these people had its own place, had its own piece of land. Or say you'll be a piece of land, right?
قطع زمینی برای خود داشتند تا ادعا کنند
Or say on which they could say that their people had prospered.
قوم آنها در این قطع زمین نوز گرفتند و اما
Or
یهود
say except for the extremist Jews who were minority among the race.
یان افراطی که به دلیل جریانهای رقیب نژادی در اقلیت قرار گرفته بودند مجبور بودند
Or say and had no choice but to claim that their piece of land was in the east. Even Arabs the grannies the master go the real Jews no but video no.
ادعا کنند که قطع زمین آنها جایی در شرق دنیاست. نکته جالب این که
Or say an interesting point is that first of all,
اولا ساکنان
I'll say an interesting point is that first of all, the original inhabitants of Palestine were the Canaanites. You know, okay, can Bible now. Canaanites na nyapon de asasi Israel's near the Emom. And then nyapon promise Abraham. So the asas ne bema Abraham and then ma. You be a nation, no, and nyapon may kwan be the every conquer Canaanites. No, why? Because as nyapon promise in asas ne yeah.
اصلی فلسطین کنعانی هستند که اجداد
I'll say the forefathers of the Palestines.
مردم فلسطینند.
Okay, no, I'm in the real Africans. Okay, I'll say the name Palestinian is I'll say this synonym with Canaanites. Palestinian, Philistines, Canaanite. Okay, me sure but me research.
دیگری از قوم کنعان است. دوم اینکه
I'll say second, the Jews were the tribe. I'll say the Jews were the tribes, right?
یهودیان قبایلی بودند که از مصر
I'll say that migrated from Egypt to the land of Canaan. And even Palestinians, no any Arabs, no can say the real Jews no move free Europe and a Basas. So the real Jews no move free Egypt. Proof of how can Exodus now point be Esuma Moses uncle yen and move free Egypt. Or your course less no and now point the course as Canaan and so.
به سوی ارض کنعان یعنی فلسطین حرکت کردند و سپس
I'll say then they leave alongside with these people, right? Because now I bring young pons and may so can kind of book Joshua Crock and kind of the book of Numbers. Now Pokache said Massa Mukasa so mo making sure some nations in their assassin so. Right? But yana no maintain there or more nations ne stay assassins almost stay some portions of the land. Eventually, some nations none shall some Muslim sema now bombe say in free assassin so.
در کنار این قوم به زندگی پرداختند و سوم اینکه
I'll say third, as generally happens, the people mix over the years. Yeah, you free Egypt by a code the land of Canaan. Yes, I say men go with other nations. No, as I said, some same year and no man who here nyampom ede a punish ye. Yes, I say mix with other Africans. No.
طبق روال معمول همه ملت‌ها در طول سالیان متمادی اقوام در یکدیگر حل می‌شوند. به ویژه آنکه
I'll say especially because two great religious revolution because at that time no after Jesus Christ then in parts of the time Islam religion by 600 years after Christ you Jews followed that religion. Why? Because sounds now Arabs no force making sure to be converted by Muslims.
دو انقلاب بزرگ دینی در ارض کنعان یا فلسطین روی داد. نخست مسیحیت و دوم اسلام. چگونه ممکن است که همه
how is it that although all the people in Palestine, all the peoples in Palestine
اقوام ساکن فلسطین همگی مسیحی و
converted to Christianity and later to Islam? Yeah, because I bet you to buy or you know, you know, be more Africa, rather say it, I kind of say Zion, African countries no be better they believe we follow Christ. But later on, no, yes, because we are now Islam by no and be better as I say converted and be so false because there was a war between Christians no make about Christianity is our garbage Christianity no right and to be better converted by Muslims.
سپس مسلمان شده باشند اما یهودیان
I say the Jews were the only ones who were not affected by these changes. I say even that time, the Jews, they were not affected. Why? Because they know their laws, right? They know their laws. And at that time now, war needs, you know, Jews, but also Jews, they know their laws. They were not affected by these changes because
خود را از این همه تحولات که اتفاقا میان اقشار
I say which encompass all levels of society.
مردم روی داده بود برکنار بدانند و از آن تأثیری نپذیرفته باشند. استدلال
I say what the Zionists present as a proof is more of a joke than evidence. Yo, I was not here for I say even so-called Jewish people, I do move just move proving some Israelites now. That's some the fear assassin. So I say you joke more than evidence because only evidence be a omutimi ko Bible nim improve some pa ye na assassin ye the real Jews no omutimi ko Bible nim improve.
صهیونیست ها قبل از اینکه استدلال باشد یک شوخی است. آنها به
they refer to a forced exile of Jews from the land of Canaan.
اخراج اجباری یهودیان از ارض کنعان در تقریباً 3000
which took place more than 3,000 years ago.
سال قبل اشاره می‌کنند که اصولاً
in history, however, this event is only mentioned in a very vague manner. I didn't know that's mentioned in a very vague manner.
آن را به شکل کاملا مبهم و تنها
and only on the basis of Jewish source.
استناد به متون یهودی به خاطر می آورد. مهمتر این که
moreover, not all the Jews were exiled by Nebuchadnezzar. Jeremiah, Nebuchadnezzar,
اولا همه یهودیان توسط بخت و نصر کوچانده نشده بودند. دوم کوچ اجباری
second, their forced deportation was due to protests of the Canaanites.
آنها به دلیل اعتراض کنعانیان یعنی صاحبان
the true owners of Palestine
اصلی فلسطین بود. سوم که همه تحولات
the important religious, political and social changes
مذهبی، سیاسی و اجتماعی مهم مانند ظهور
such as an advent of Christianity and Islam
مسیحیت و اسلام بین 500 تا 1000
took place 500 to 1,000 years after this event.
سال پس از این رویداد اتفاق افتاد. قرائن و شواهد
this evidence indicate that the Jews did not migrate to the west. What's that? Jews now moving yet the real inhabitants of that Israel. Oman ko west, Oman ko Europe.
نشان می‌دهد مهاجرت به غرب اصولاً توسط یهودیان صورت نگرفته است و یهودیان
and that the Western Ashkenazi Jews
غربی یا اشکنازی ها در اصل
they are the descendants of people who converted to Judaism. Even Abraham no credit himself massa. Even as yet was as no, but him say Jews na nkasa no mu free as no so omonya sankofo we. Jews na as Israel ni eyo modern enya Ashkenazis for no asase. Or see as Israel na eye Jews for no there na omonye akosi broni. Or see Jews na as ni omodi anon omonye ni patuntum. Because only omo betan as omo Canaanites the in peace omo mingle with the Canaanites. Yen say Canaanites no omo ye nipa tuntum. Yen yen say ba me ta say Jews no e nipa tuntum omo nya kwose broni. And even Arabs no kwani say massa I didn't know even though yen the real Israelite him say ye Arabs. But yenim say but also so yenim say mono the real Israelites, the real Jews. Mo your converts. Mo your converts. Mo your converts mo be follow Judaism. Meba hold on. Because I book him Bishop I hope say mo my screen no. Okay, mo say book him. Oh. Your friend who is Esau Edom? Unya a very good book now leadership bringing okay. Unya making sure say that obe pesa book we. Me ba be kan ade free sa book we. Me ba be call page if I can best me call. So mo pan me on. Okay, me ba be call page 7. And unya na so to book we ya. Why? No I call page 7. Right, unya ho akọ page 7. All right, nti ma be call page 7. Na ma kan. All right. Page 7. If I can mention saying free. Okay. That I'll say during the time of John Hyrcanus, 135 to 105 BC, the nephew of Judas, the Judahites were again falls with the hostility of the Idumeans. Idumeans are the Ayakosibruni. Esau, Edom, Idumeans, right? Hyrcanus confronted the Edomites, causing a division change in the relations between the two factions. I'll say John Hyrcanus conquered the whole of Edom and overtook the false conversion of its inhabitants to Judaism. And the Hyrcanus by your conquer, Edomites, or converted by Judaism. Herod, no Bible no kind about Herod. Herod, or a Jewish person or converted, a follow Judaism. Maybe I'm some more other article. No, I enter Herod. Herod way. Herod. Okay, Herod. Let's maybe I copy when I'm in share my screen. Herod. Enter Herod. Okay. Okay, the book in the New Testament, it kind about Herod and then the Busian 4, right? But Herod lineage, any persua moye. Okay, I hope so. Who me screen, right? To me, call Herod. Me, I hear Herod any persua de omoye. I'll say Herod. Herod the Great, Latin Herodes. Magnus. Or say born 70 whatever, died in bien found masa. Or say Roman appointed king of Judea. Herod who can come Bible, no who can come Matthew. Or say Herod Luke and Matthew. Or say he was appointed as a king of Judea, right? Romans appointed no money be a king of Judea, but no onye Jew ni and onye Israelite ni. Yen ni pursue anoye. Or say Herod, or say family and early life, or say Herod was born in southern Palestine. His father, Antipater, was an Edomite, a Semitic people identified by scholars as Arabs who converted to Judaism. Herod and in the lineage, they were Jewish people who converted to Judaism. Right? Omo your converts. Omo need the real people of omo need the real Jews. Omo your converts. Omo your refugees. Mame definition of refugees. Omo need the people of the land. Omo need the real Israelites. Omo need Jews. Omo your Jewish people. Omo your converts. All right. Refugee. You know the definition of refugee. Or say a people who has been forced to leave their country in order to escape war or a natural disaster. And that shows that Jewish people, no, omo ye refugees, omo ye converts. Omo free asasi Israel, no, so no, asasi Israel, any omo dia. Omo ye refugees and omo ye converts. Because through history, you know, they were forced to follow the belief of us Jews. They were converts. Herod, and then I said for no more converts. No more the real Jews, no more Jewish people. All right, and then go back to video no. Let me go back, okay. I'll say, and that the Western Ashkenazi Jews are the descendants of people who converted to Judaism. And Massa, even Arabs for him say Massa and conforming the real Jews. And then Arabs make some better transactions because the woman is so many the real Jews. And then Gabor Abdel Nasser, or no Egypt for second president. Or say Massa, you say Jews no omo ye black. Omo free assassins no omo ye black. But omo ye white. It making no sense. And then even Gabor Abdel Nasser only go against Jewish people because no him so many the real Jews no. Arab countries need to say go for many the real Jews no. Omo say Jews ni before omo nya kwasi broni. Or say such as the Khazars who live in Caucasus and Eastern Europe. Master, at the end of the day, Jewish people are the real Jews. Almost free Eastern Europe, almost free Caucasus Mountains of Russia. I don't know, almost the real Jews. Almost refugees are almost totally land. Almost converts are almost totally land. Almost the real Jews. I'll say only the Safedin and Eastern Jews who live in Iran and Arab countries could claim that there was a time when they had actually lived in Palestine. Also, that's the only people make I say you're trying Palestine. Why? Because they were forced to convert. Converted followed the Jews religion. They were converts and no more assassins. But since I got 4 kids that's no more free Russia and no more assassins. Also, the real Jews. They are converts. Until Mutmin claim say I'm the real Jews, the real Jew assassin media. No. Assassin any out there. Even Arabs no cry, Arabs from the crime say the real Jews no. So, and even Arabs need to cry say and Kofoi, the real Jews no. Right? Oh, man share video. No. Oh, wait a moment, fan share me. Damn. Okay, my main share, I'm playing it back. Wait a moment, fan share me.
توسط بخت و نصر کوچانده نشده بودند. دومند ظهور مسیحیت و اسلام نگرفته است. مانند خزرها هستند.
Such as the Khazars who live in Caucasus and Eastern Europe. I'll say, my main call back Accra. I'll say, and that the Western Ashkenazi Jews, are the descendants of people who converted to Judaism. We are converts. I don't know what me I said to say we are converts. We are the real Jews, no. We are the real Jews, no. Even Arab one question say we are converts. We are the real Jews.
زندان اقوام یهودی شده‌ای مانند خزرها هستند.
Or say, such as the Khazars who live in Caucasus Mountains of Russia and Eastern Europe.
And که در قفقاز و شرق اروپا زندگی می‌کردند و تنها
Okay, only the Shefadi and the Western Jews who live in Iran and Arab countries.
دیمها یا یهودیان شرقی ساکن ایران و بلاد عربی می‌توانند ادعا
who claimed that they were was at a time when they had actually lived in Palestine. Yeah, because okay, can buy you convert to them. Maybe if you convert to them, follow the belief of the Jews.
که روزگاری در فلسطین زندگی می‌کردند.
So, and even Arabs want to call himself Masa Mono the real Jews, no. So, Omunim say Munya the real Jews, no. Tina mo from Jewish people. And tina mo se mo ye Israelites. Mo from mo se mo ye Jew. And I say me Israel. Ni mo se mo ye Israelites. And I say Jewish people. All right. Me say kubukwe. Then me pen my camera. My said my read me article na me end the class no. Refugee. Okay. Roman Herod siege. Okay, mommy play that video way. Mommy play that video way. We are refugees. Most assassinate modia. But I'm assassinate modia. Huh? Now send you we are there. Send you we are there. Okay, to me, be place our video way.
Two former American vessels carrying nearly 4,000 Jewish refugees arrive at the port of Haifa, Palestine. Jammed like cattle on the rusty craft, the fugitives end their...
Wait, no, make us say you conquest with ship. Conquest with ship. You move from Europe near the mobile, as I say, Israel no so. As I say, we refugees, but maybe we as I say, maybe we are stolen land. Or be your refugee, no, maybe we as I say, or maybe we are stolen land. One more. All right.
Bleak voyage, which began at a Black Sea port. The death of an infant was first blamed on British tear gas, but examination showed it was accidentally crushed and suffocated on the overcrowded ship. All precautions are taken to prevent the spread of disease, as small children debark along with fathers and mothers, all showing the signs of fatigue and illness. The British encounter little trouble transferring the refugees. Mostly the procedure is carried out in an orderly manner, as embarkation for Cyprus detention camps takes place. Cyprus, already bursting with refugees, is preferable to deportation to Europe, as had been threatened. At Lake Success, New York, the United Nations gives Palestine's problems first consideration. Herschel Johnson, U.S. delegate, backs partition in a message to the Assembly's Special Palestine Committee.
The United States delegation supports the basic principles of the unanimous recommendations and the majority plan which provides for partition and immigration. We refer to assistance through the United Nations in meeting economic and financial problems and the problem of internal law and order during the transition period. The latter problem might require the establishment of a special constabulary or police force recruited on a volunteer basis by the United Nations.
Later, Russia supported the United States on the partition recommendation, while Arab states threatened reprisals, as the Holy Land's future hangs in the balance.
Yeah, and to when Abra war Palestinians and MMO quite some better sense. Now I'm go back and forth, but so this is the history. But me kind book with, me kind some pages every book with, right? Unya was to book where say who is Esau Edom? A very, very good book, right? And see, not Arabs no can about Khazars no, or say so-called Jewish people no, or me Khazars, or me converts, or converted follow Judaism, or me the real Jews. All right, so maybe kind of few paragraph you will have say near had there. And if I can mention the same thing. Okay. Maybe I skip around, but when you want to say book way, me need some to. So until me call page 9. Page 9, I say the origins of the Jews, right? I say the Jews of today fall within two types. There are Sephardic Jew and Ashkenazi Jew. All right, I'll say the Sephardim are known as the Spanish Jews and constitute about 5% of the Jews in the world. The Ashkenazim are the Eastern European Jews, which were found in Poland, Russia, Germany, and Western Asia. This group of Jews make up 90% of the so-called Jews in the world, right? And the Jewish people, no, Ashkenazis, no, omo Poland, Russia, Germany, and Western Asia. Sana book near the eka. Omo the real Jews, no. Mom dada, mom from, and I'm yakosik masa, mom dada. Oh, me was asking some me nyango pon call for her. How nyango pon shami? Masa nyango pon shao. American to siga guso. Germany and to siga guso because idea Hitler All right, Metwaso. Or say many reference and historical sources have unequivocally identified that the bulk of the Ashkenazi Jews were derived from a people known as Khazars or Khazars in some texts. The original Jewish Encyclopedia of 1905 revealed that the main stock of the Jews came from the Asiatic people known as Khazars or Khazars. Or say Khazars, a people of Turkish origin whose life and history are interwoven with the very beginning of history of the Jews of Russia. Historically, evidence points to that the region of Urals as the home of the Khazars. Page 10. Or say the Khazars are the nomadic people who had no trace of Hebrew culture. They had been following a pagan and sex-oriented religion until they had officially embraced Judaism in 740 AD, while rejecting Christianity and Mohammedanism. The Jewish author and historian Arthur Koestler also concludes that the majority of Eastern European Jews, and hence of the word Jewry, is of Khazars and not of Shemitic origin, meaning they are not the descendants of Jacob. They are not descendants of Jacob. They are the descendant of Esau. So-called Jewish people, and they're more assassins, no. Or when they're the descendant of Jacob, or the descendants of Esau, or converts. It's like I say, Arthur Koestler also concludes that the majority of the Eastern European Jews, and hence of the word Jewry, is of Khazar and not of Semitic origin. In the beginning of this book, he states a large majority of surviving Jews in the world is Eastern Europeans, and that's perhaps mainly of the Khazars origin. If so, this would mean that their ancestors this would mean that their ancestors came not from the Jordan, but from the Volga, and not from the Canaan, but from the Caucasus. And to Canaan, not all can because Abraham, okay, for Abraham have Isaac have Jacob and Esau. And that Canaan all can free Jacob as it. Jewish people free Jacob as it. Also free Caucasus, mean free Akosiboni as it, free Esau as it. I'll say that genetically, they are more closely related to Han of Ugar Magyar tribes that are seen of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's not true, but me finding out Sadi when my confirm it. Mr. Wasso say, Kostler then devoted the reminder of his 255 page book to prove this premise. For instance, okay, second paragraph on page 11. I say the Khazars government was destroyed by the Slavs of Russia in 16 AD, around 1200 AD. The land was invaded by Hordis of Genghis Khan. These two events caused large numbers of Khazars to migrate to Poland and Western Russia, forming the cradle of Western Jewry. Or say this is an abundance of ancient place names in Ukraine and Poland, which derive from Khazars or Zihate, Jew. I mean, Zihate means Jew, right? Or say, as the Khazars left their homeland of Khazaria and migrated north and west, they lost their name and became known as Jews. We did call Khazars a Jew. We call me a converts. All right, I'll say their Yiddish language and alphabet is not that of the Israelites. Also, kind of Hebrew Yiddish language, and yet wrote a Hebrew language, no, and yet wrote Hebrew kasa. Yiddish no more kind, and yet the real Hebrew. Or say their Yiddish language and alphabet is not that of the Israelites, Phoenician Greek style, but an amalgamation of Aramaic, Median, German, Slavic, and Russian dialect. And yeah, customer I'm mixing now, and I mean I'm Hebrew now. My sound can Hebrew. A customer mixing more the German, more the Aramaic, more the Slavic casa and the Russian dialect. I'm mixing now more casa. Must I'm the real Jew. Customer more can the real Hebrew. Meaning why I Israel Bijana, Esu Hebrew casa, Abraham Oshebij now, Esu Hebrew casa, also could Israel make sure Hebrew casa was say. Rabbi be not show me Hebrew casa. That's not okay. Casa in the real Hebrew. A Yiddish language, and on more kind of Rabbi John say, on you need the real Hebrews, on you the real Jews. Metwaso, or say the best historical evidence thereof shows that the Jews are not descended directly from the Israelites of the Bible, but derive much of their ancestors from the Khazars and other people of Turkish Asiatic blood. The Khazars are also of Edomite stocks, and both stocks make up the present-day Jews, as historian H.J. Wall states. Also, I didn't free Abraham, the free Israelite as for free Jacob as for Jewish people, free Jacob as for free Edomite as for Edomites, Esau, Kasibroni. Betwaso. Or say the Idumeans, Edomites were made Jews, and a Turkish people, Khazars, were mainly Jews in South Russia. The main part of Jewry never was in Judea and had never come out of Judea. Or say, Master, I didn't know. Omo a convert, omo free Judea, and I say omo free the descendants of Jacob. Omo the real Jews, omo Israelites, omo converts. Omo refugees said that omo be assassin Israel. Or say, according to the Jewish Encyclopedia, the original stock of Khazars came from the land of Edom. Omo Edomites. Omo the real Jews. Khazars, Jewish people. Omo Edomites. Omo converts. Omo refugees. We are not a mepe. Yeah, I'm saying SMDC. I say me time na eko. So until history, any omo me have brought for me kakwacho se masa me ntimi show say book way. Omo Jewish people na show say book way. Omo se masa den de masa ye free Jacob ase. The Edomites, ye converts, ye refugees. As I seen in there, even Arabs look as masa and go for move omo the real Jews no. And the Jews no more as no mutuntum. Omu fi asase ne call ya omo buy omo yakosi broni. It make no sense. And then I Palestinians no embassy omo baba assassins because omo need someone the real Jews. All right, I'm saying no, I'm best me can free me book. But me finish it me scriptures. Time they call some more almost 2 hours. All right. Yanko Isaiah chapter 11 verse 11. Me finishing it real quick. Isaiah chapter 11 verse 11. Isaiah chapter 11 verse 11. Or say, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set up the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people which are left in from Assyria, because you say called Kwasumu Assyria in an unbebe ekaho. And from Egypt, you call Kwasumu Egypt. Abra free Egypt no Babylonian say by Ikaniko Egypt. Abra 70 AD yenyom bebe Ikaniko Esako Egypt ekotna. Patros upper Egypt, Kush meaning Ethiopia, and yenyom bebe Ethiopia. From Elam, India, Iran, in baby, India, Iran. Or say, and from Shana, say Iraq, your Afro Iraq, Iraq, so be restored. Or say, and from Hamath, in Syria, in baby, Syria, Afro Syrians, or more. And from the islands of the sea, Jamaica, St. Thomas, St. Islands, because even Ghana history, no, I brought a saying and I'm called Nkwasum, or the people call islands, so or they call Jamaica, or they call St. Thomas, or they call St. Kitts, islands, also Haiti. Verse 12 will say, and he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and all the assembly of the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. Also, only now upon the Bayesa, and Yakosubuni, and any United Nations, and they ever ask me so. Only now upon the day because I see Israel so. And Yakos, any America for any British for any United Nations. Only now upon the Bayesa, Juman. Yanko Isaiah chapter 14, verse 1. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 1. I'll say, for the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall join with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. Until Saturday, at the end of the day, on your point, the best say over our land. On your point, they be called as Israel. So, and yeah, and you need beba, and hey, Master, more Ghana for me is like for the plane ever be famo. No. Oh, more America for me is like for you from plane near from uncle. No. Now, Paul can come back and I go point share how or best say I call as Israel. So, and yeah, any pan be yes at the end. Or in your point be yes at the end. All right. Yanko Isaiah chapter 2, verse 1. Isaiah, may jump straight to the point. Isaiah chapter 2, verse 4. Or say, verse 3. Or say, and many people shall go and say, come ye and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and will walk in his path. For out of Zion shall come forth the law, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. Verse 4. And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nations shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. And the Bible says, "Now, is saying Israelites ne koya sa so war in Sibium. Nations no enka se masa mene Ghana ni Nigeria be ko ana Togo ni Ghana for be ko ana Ukraine wa hom be ko. No. China for ana China for e be ko. No. Bible say now possible the young Israelites ne koya sa so war in Sibium. Peace and ebeba. When you want to Isaiah chapter 14 or see even in Biakrabe rejoice. Now upon one year say asase Israel ne so or see in Biakrabe rejoice. So and when they say ampa nkofo omonye the real Jews, no omonye converts and omonye refugees, and omonye we are stolen land. Abraham Moshe say, oh, now we say Jewish for no omone nyankopon omonye nyankopon call for ntino omonye Jesus Christ ndi no. Abraham Moshe say the Jesus Christ story a story, a myth. You hear the entire Jewish people no believe in Jesus Christ. You have some Jesus Christ ka form. Revelation chapter 2 verse 9 or say, I know thy works and tribulations and poverty, thou art rich. Well, Ghana, how are you will go? You cocoa assassin so but still you're poor. So how I know the angels like so still you're poor. Or see him say right now, I'm gonna go through tribulation in some way you're poor, but in some way you're rich. Kingdom of heaven, even right now, as I say Ghana, good natural resources was assassin. So you will seek her. Me to us or say. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not. Now, just because you say, and go for no one that says some of your Jews, no, but also when you're Jews, and someone can blasphemy. Even Arabs want to cry and say, go for when you're the real Jews, or me a Khazars, or me a Edomites. Assassin Jew Israel, and your Modia, or maybe we are stolen, or me a refugees, and or me a converts, or maybe we are stolen land. Or say, I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. But yes, Christ says, "Sango for omuye mbosam, omuye devil, omuye Satan." And you know, we believe in Jesus Christ because Jesus Christ is condemned. So, and I hope say, and then there means some additional much long, but now me tell as a leadership come by Israel. Nti say the SMS about Israel. But leadership are great topics about how our Jewish people no munye Israel. Videos be YouTuber unya ho abit me akono ahwe way better than me dey no same dey me encourage be na match no ha. But me dem go deep x-ray more history bring it out more books more information and prove say and sango for munye the real Jews. You need the real Jews no. So see, I hope say nyampon boy ade yeswen what ya say. Me so mo fan me tree no enye pure sa. Right? And I'm a brother so nye pure. Some yasantini asane for ye need to tree. But anyway, I hope say ade yeswen no munyina the Matthias say. And I hope say they was trying to build remember akwasiboni influence oh me nyo pastor ngajo say oh me nyo bia me no massa oh nye Gentile oh Israelite ni who the kingdom of Judah. Ufi Jacob I say for anya akosibuni omufi Edomites omu ye Khazars omu ye converts omu ye refugees mo assassin so ene de nyo modia right and to say nyampon pe na ye try this one so a nyampon boy de ye sabe kasa all right and ye de be say ene shalom